So yesterday we were going through that sweet story, The Happy Prince. You all have seen that swallow. He decided not to leave Happy Prince. Why? Because he has taken out two sapphire, which was actually the eyes of Happy Prince. And now Happy Prince has become blind. So our kind little bird swallow decided not to go to Egypt. He was knowing that if he will stay there, then this winter season or snowfall will kill him. But still, I told you he was now addicted to goodness. He has become a pious soul, and actually he was. So these two people, living creature. Obviously, one is dead, but still he has that hurt, which is still living, and that is why he can see, he can feel the pain and suffering of others. If you are a live person, then only you will be able to feel pain and suffering. So our happy prince, despite being dead, you can call him that prince was still, his soul was there, and so he may feel, he was able to feel suffering and pain, and he kept on helping. So swallow decided not to go anywhere and to stay with happy prince and there in the statue. Now, what we are going to observe that how these two creatures, godly creatures, messenger of mercies, two kind friends, how they will be helping other, needy people, those who are actually going through hardships of life. So how they will help them. So let's continue the story. Okay, children, so screen is visible. Please let me know, raise your hands. Okay, Shivangi. Thank you, Vita. I think my voice is also clear. So three main assignment was given to our swallow, Happy Prince, because Happy Prince was not able to move. He was actually fixed in that platform, that pedestal. So he asked Swallow to help him. First of all, they helped ex-mistress. Thereafter, they helped that writer. And the third was the little match girl. Now, after all these things, as we all know, that Swallow decided not to leave him because the happy prince, he has become blind. Okay, so he decided that he will stay with him. And thereafter, how they are going to help other needy people, that we all are going to see in the story. Now, Swallow was actually narrating him sweet stories. But our happy prince was least interested. He was not happy with the stories. Rather, he wanted to know what is happening in his own city. And he simply said that, please fly over my city, little swallow, and tell me what you see there. I'm least interested in your fascinating stories. Rather, I would like to know that what is happening in my city. So the little swallow flew over the great city and saw the rich making merry in their beautiful houses. Merry means happiness. While the beggars were sitting at the gates, he flew into dark lanes and saw the white faces of the starving children looking out listlessly at the black streets. Under the archway of a bridge, two little boys were laying in each other's arms to try and keep themselves warm. How hungry we are, they said. You must not lie here, shouted the watchman, and they wandered out into the rain. So now you know that this world is full of sufferings. Only the people, very little people, I think that very few people, they are having all kind of luxuries and money in their life. So when Swallow started flying and he was taking a round over the city, he was astonished and surprised to see that how rich people were living happily in their beautiful houses. That is the reality. They have a lot of money, lot of luxuries, lot of happiness. I don't say that money brings happiness, but yeah, money brings luxuries in life, and they are also important for one's survival. So Swallow was surprised, astonished, startled to see that how rich people are happy, they are departing, while poor people they are begging, sitting outside the gates, and specifically in this cold weather. He also went to the dark lanes where there was no light and poor people lived. Dark lanes means black streets, dark lanes where people have slums, not big houses. Obviously, it is not even electrified. No basic amenities are available. If you had ever been or seen in the movies or on TV, the slum area, that how they are surviving unhygienic condition, pitiable condition they all are. So he also moved to those places where he saw, observed their lifestyle, no light, no food, no warmth, and how poor people are starving, dying because of not only hunger, but also because of, cold. He saw the children were hungry, and that is why you can see under the starving children looking out listlessly without any, no, nothing they have to do. So they were hungry, and that's why their faces are white, because white means here no amount, good amount of blood was in their body. So they have very little blood, their physical condition is not good, their mental condition is not good. And then thereafter, Swallow saw two little boys under the archway of the bridge. Archway, that is a semicircle type of thing. They were lying much close to each other. Why? Because they would be able to keep themselves warm. They have no house. Perhaps they are orphan. So there was no one to look after them. And that's why they were trying to hug each other, both the children, so that they may be able to keep themselves warm. And obviously they are so poor, they don't have food, they don't have shelter, they don't have any place to go, and they are both speaking, oh, starving and wondering that how hungry we are. And when they were saying this, even in that park, even in that place, the watchman, he appeared and scolded them badly. He shouted and made them go from there. You cannot be here. You have to run. You have to move from that place. Aha, such a pitiable condition. So that was happening. So they wandered, and that's why he snubbed them. The watchman scolded them and asked them to move away from that place. So they started moving out in the rain. Ah, see, this is the pathetic condition that those who are rich, they are having so many things in their life. No, enough amount of food, enough amount of clothes, amount and big houses. And those who are poor, they don't have the basic amenities of life. This is the inequality in our society. And so now he watched and observed everything. He was also very sad when he was observing. He was actually very sad to see the situation. Hmm. Yes, yes. Rich people have abundance of everything. And yes, Shivang, you are true. You are right. And this is the pathetic thing. They have big houses. Only two people are living in big villas and big palaces. And even the poor people, they don't have a small room for themselves. So this inequality, and that's why the entire world is working on this. But still, the political people, they will always keep this kind of mismatch. Otherwise, they will not be able to collect vote bank for themselves. Okay. And the second reason is also why am I not very happy with these poor people? Because still in our country like India, what you have observed that why they are poor, poverty is not because of the ignorance or illiteracy. That is also because of population. They are not able to control the population. They are still having many, many children. And that's why, their condition is again pathetic. But they will not realize this thing. They will not realize, even though government is trying to, they are in a habit of taking everything free. Anyway, we will someday we will talk about this. Okay, so then he flew back and told the prince what he had seen. So that was the job of Swallow. He was observing everything and then coming back to Happy Prince and was narrating whatever he had seen in the city. Okay, I am covered with fine gold, said the prince. You must take it off, leaf by leaf, and give it to poor. The living always think that gold can make them happy. Ha, very good. Nice statement by Happy Prince. Yeah, gold, living people, we all want more and more gold. Why? Because gold is actually very precious and gold is equivalent to money. If you have enough gold, you will be able to get a lot of money and money makes you happy. At least money will help you to get the basic thing of life. So Happy Prince, he decided that now since he has no gemstones left on his body, so he decided that his whole body was covered with fine gold. So he asked Swallow that you can take the little part, little scrap of the gold, and why don't you give it to the poor people? Because all the living beings required money. And when they get gold, they would feel happy because gold can be easily turned into money. Now, this was the only way by which, but this is not the solution. Happy Prince never thought about it. Anyway, so he decided to help poor and needy people and he asked Swallow to take out gold from his body and to distribute it among the needy and poor people. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold the swallow picked off till the happy prince looked quite dull and grey. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold he brought to the poor, and the children's faces grew rosier, and they laughed and played in the street. We have bread now, they cried. So slowly the swallow took out the gold layers from the statue of Happy Prince and distributed it among the poor. But as much as he was removing the layers of the gold, our happy prince pretty statue started looking dull and grey. But as much as the statue of happy prince started looking dull and grey, the children grew happier. Their faces become rosier, rosy colored, red colored. That means now they had food to eat, they were happy, and they were getting food. And when they were getting food, they were able to play, they were able to live happily. So now children were happy and they started saying, oh, we have bread now, we have enough to eat. Then the snow came. So, in this manner, the time was moving away. And Swallow and Happy Prince, they kept on helping people, all the needy, poor people, little children, the small, these people, they started getting food, they started getting warmth, their face became rosier, they became happier. But our prince, he was getting dull and grey because now his body was only remained, it was a solid lead. And then the snow came. Lot of snow fell, everything froze, as you would have seen in the movie. The streets looked as if they were made of silver, snow is color, white color, and everybody went about in furs, and the little boys wore scarlet caps and skate on the ice. So all of a sudden, the entire scenario changed. The entire thing changed. Everyone started wearing clothes made of small children were wearing red color caps, scarlet red color, and roaming here and there, wandering here and there, skating on the ice. So in this manner, this were going on. But there was one fellow, one living creature who had no clothes, who had no fur, who had no place to go and get warm. And what was that? Our poor little swallow, we all know. So the poor little swallow grew colder and colder, but he would not leave the prince. He loved him too well. Although many times the happy prince had asked him to move away, move to Egypt, but Swallow Bird was, even though he was feeling cold, but he was always happy to be with Happy Prince's statue. Now, he did not want to leave him because he genuinely loved him. He picked up crumbs outside the baker's door when the baker was not looking and tried to keep himself warm by flapping his wings. Obviously bird also need food to survive. So what he was doing, how from where he was able managing his food, the bird did not want to die. So he used to go to the bakery where the baker used to bake the bread, and he was able to manage a little breadcrumbs and try to keep himself warm by how? By flapping his wings. But at last he knew that he was going to die. So even though he was trying to keep him warm, he was trying to survive, he was eating whatever is required for his body. But one thing he was knowing. What was that? That he was going to die. He had just enough strength to fly up to Prince's shoulder once more. And finally that day has come. Our poor little swallow. He was aware that his death is very close. So he collected all his strength. He was only having that much strength so that he may be able to fly back to statue of Happy Prince. And what did he say? Goodbye, dear prince, he murmured. Murmur means whisper. Will you let me kiss your hand? Oh, so he decided that he will go and kiss his hand. Oh, now Happy Prince thought that maybe he is leaving. So he said, Oh, I'm glad that you are going to Egypt at last. Oh, little swallow, I'm so happy that you want to leave. Thank God you are leaving, said the prince. But the bird said, You have stayed too long here, but you must kiss me on the lips, for I love you. See the immortal love of these two great souls. So Happy Prince said to Swallow that that you have stayed here for a long time. Don't kiss my hand. Instead, you kiss my lips because I know you loved me a lot. So please do kiss my lips and then leave. Go to Egypt. I want you to be safe. I want you to be alive. But then he says, Oh, it is not to Egypt that I am going, said the swallow. I am going to the house of death. Death is the brother of sleep. Is he not? And he kissed the happy prince on his lips and fell down dead at his feet. Ah, so swallow bird, he said, Oh, I'm not going to Egypt, but I'm going to the house of death. Death, who is actually brother of sleep. You know why he said so? Because when you are sleeping, then also you are far away from all the miseries of this world. No, so death is very close to sleep. And then he kissed Happy Prince on his lips and fell down at its feet and died. And as you remember, you would have seen in the movie, at that moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue, as if something had broken. The fact is that the leaden heart had snapped right in two. It certainly was a dreadfully hard frost. And you know what happened? As soon as the bird died on the happy prince's feet, an unusual sound came from the statue. The sound was of the breaking of the statue's heart, which was made of lead. The heart broke because of the death of its beloved bird. Aha. But it is said that it was so cold that the heart broke into two pieces. Now, we all know what happened. Early the next morning, the mayor was walking in the square below in company with the town councillors. As they passed the column, he looked up the statue. Now we all know that once this Happy Princess statue used to be the highlight of the town because it was covered with gold plating, two sapphire, ruby on the sword hilt. So it was obviously looking a beautiful object, a beautifying object of the town. But now what happened? Since he has donated, given all his gemstones as well as his, gold plating to poor and needy people in order to keep them alive, in order to keep them fed, in order to keep them happy. So he himself was looking so bad, worn out. So next morning, the mayor of the city, along with some of his councillors, was simply taking her out of that area. And all of a sudden, they saw the statue of Happy Prince. And what did he say? Dear me, how shabby the Happy Prince looks, he said. Shabby and untidy, ugly. They were surprised to see that this Happy Princess statue, which once used to be so beautiful, how it is looking so ugly. How shabby indeed, cried the town councillors, who always agreed with the mayor, and they went up to look at it. Nice humor, ironical statement. The councillor who always agreed with whatever the mayor used to say. Now, this is the politics. Yes, ma'am. Boss is always right. So he said, yeah, you are right. He also said, yeah, you are right. The statue looks untidy. And then they noticed the ruby has fallen out of the sword. The mayor noticed that the ruby has fallen out of the sword. His eyes are gone and he is golden no longer, said the mayor. In fact, he is little better than a beggar. Aha. See, everyone praises beauty. If beauty is lost, how ugly this world or how unkind this world will be to you. Okay, so he simply said that the ruby stone which was placed in the hands of the sword was missing, hilt of sword. The sapphires from the statue's eyes were also missing, and the layer of gold from his body was also missing. And he also commented such a bad comment, ugly comment, that he is looking like a beggar. In fact, he is little better than a beggar, said the town councillors. Little better than a beggar? What does it mean? Anyway, but he agreed, okay, you are saying, then you are always right. And here is actually a dead bird at his feet, continued the mayor. We must really issue a proclamation that birds are not to be allowed to die here. Wow, as if birds will understand their language. What a foolish mayor he was. So when he noticed that a dead bird was laying on the feet of the statue, he told the town councillor to pass an order that birds are not allowed to die here on the feet of the statue. Wow. Birds will also listen to their, birds, wind, natural creatures. You cannot keep them in barriers. So you cannot pass any order, but see the town clerk, he was such a foolish that whatever he was speaking, he was making this note of the suggestion. So he said, come on, made a proclamation. Proclamation, order, pass an order. And our town clerk, he was making the notes of the suggestion. So what did they do now? Since that beautiful statue, once beautiful, but now a beautiful heart. But it was actually, obviously, the place was not looking beautiful because of that ugly statue. So they pulled down the statue of the Happy Prince as he is no longer beautiful, he is no longer useful, said the art professor at the university. So that was the comment that he is not beautiful. So he's spoiling the charm and the beauty of that place, that square. So it is better to demolish it. Okay, so now it will not be there. And what did they do? As we all have seen in the movie, they melted the statue in a furnace. Furnace, fireplace. With lot fireplace. But While he was trying to melt down the entire statue, he noticed one thing. What a strange thing, said the overseer, supervisor of the workmen at the foundry. That, oh, the supervisor of the foundry saw a strange thing. This broken lead heart will not melt in the furnace. We must throw it away. They were surprised to see that the heart was not being able to melt down in the high temperature. Why is it so? The entire statue was melted. But imagine, his body was not able to melt. The heart of the happy prince statue, which was broken into two pieces, was not melting in the furnace. So what did they do? They threw it in a dust of heap. फेंक दिया garbage में, because now it is useless. And where they threw it, on the dust of heap where the dead swallow was also lying. And that was the coincidence. Coincidentally, they threw the heart of the happy prince where the dead swallow was also laying. And in this manner, their job was over. The life of two great souls, happy prince and swallow, was over. But there was something when we mortal being, our job is complete, then something is happening somewhere in the heaven, in the sky. You know, what is happening? Have you ever thought about it? So as I told you, that when we stop, our job is over, we die. No, our mortal body is either cremated or buried. Then something is happening because soul is immortal. शरीर नश्वर है पर आत्मा तो अमर है. And something is happening where? Somewhere in the heaven or hell be. You must be knowing the story of heaven and hell, the differences. So something was happening where? In the house of gods. What was happening? God was saying to these statement to one of his angels. Bring me the two most precious things in the city, said God to one of his angels. And the angel brought him the leaden heart and the dead bird. So God asked, come on, I need two most precious things of this town. Angel saw it without even thinking, without wasting time. The angel brought two pieces of heart of the statue, obviously happy princess the heart, and the dead swallow bird's body. Oh, God was very much impressed. What did he say? You have rightly chosen, said God. For in my garden of paradise, this little bird shall sing forevermore, and in my city of gold, the happy prince shall praise me. So God was very happy with the decision of angel. He said, yes, you brought the right thing. You have chosen the right thing because these are indeed the most precious thing of city. No money, no luxury, nothing. Your goodness, your pious heart, your virtuous soul will help you. And that is the only way by which you will be able to go to heaven. So he said, now I will keep this bird, swallow bird. He would always sing in the garden of paradise. And happy prince, he will also stay in this city of gold and admire him. So I don't need anything else. Even if people are rich, but if they are not kind, I don't need them. They are not going to be placed in paradise. They will be sent to purgatory, to hell. So he said that yes, only those people are allowed to remain in heaven who have done something good in life. And we all know our happy prince and our little swallow, they have really bring a smile on so many faces. They have really genuinely done nice things. They helped poor and needy people. They helped those who were starving. They helped the people who actually was in great trouble. So God knows who is better, who is good people. See, my dear children, this is the great message Oscar Wilde want to convey to you through this story that if you are good to others, then only God will reward you, help you, love you. I'm not talking about that after death, what will happen, whether you will go to paradise or you will not. But even when you are living on this earth, there also God will help you. He will give you all sorts of sources of happiness. You will be successful in whatever you do, maybe your exams, maybe your life. So that's why if you will bring smile on the faces of the people, but if you will do bad to others, then definitely even God will not be happy with you, because God is always happy with those people who always make other people happy. So now God was actually happy with the happy prince, because even when he was alive, obviously he never saw any unhappiness, any ugly things in his life. But after his death, he realized when he was placed on the long pedestal, he was able to see the miseries and suffering of the world. And yes, with the help of the another messenger of mercy, another pious soul, he kept on helping people, providing them all the necessities, his gold. And he did not care whether he will look ugly or bad, but he donated whatever he was having. And in this manner, he has brought a smile on the faces of so many people in the world.